My name is Rhapsody and welcome back to SpellRogue, where we're going to be playing as Hazel, using the loadout C. That has the signature spell Mulch, which accepts a 2 to a 6, 2 times a turn. It returns +2 to, it gives +2 to the value of the lowest dice, and also returns the dice you put into this with -1 to its value. And then there's Autumn's Veil, our defense, 3 countdown, 3 times a turn, gain 3 block. When it's depleted, gain another 3 block. And then our attack spell, Javelin, on a 1 to a 5, 3 times a turn, deal X damage. There's also been a relatively large and sweeping balance overhaul, focusing a lot of the mutators. 5 new spells have been included, I believe 3 new artifacts, 1 new event, and a lot of spells have been changed a little bit. One that would become especially relevant. Engorge is now a 14 cost modifier? Interesting. One that would become especially relevant quite quickly, especially while playing Hazel here, is that Bastion has been reworked. I believe it now increases its cost as it also increases the defense that it provides. I see. So we're in a position where I'm definitely going to have to choose one of these top modifiers at the absolute least. Escalation, on turn 1, receive 5 Rupture. Unrelenting Foes, on turn 1, all enemies receive Undying. So between the two of those, I intend to defend heavily on turn 1. Diminishment, every turn, remove 1 charge from the leftmost spell. That makes it much easier for me to, with only 2 die, activate the depleted value of Autumn Veil. Increases our defense. Decrepit, turn 2, receive 2 sap. I still have to find 7 more points that I'm capable of taking here. Drought, -50% gold from combat. I don't love it, but I can use it. Turn 2, all enemies gain 4 block, and then Tempest, end of every second turn, receive 2 damage. Totally doable. I'm not giving the enemies 2 grow. They're not gaining 2 power every single round. Also, if they start with 2 grow, do they also get the power on that first round? I wouldn't have assumed so, but based on the way some things are worded and work, maybe. Let's go with this. Also head to our starter artifact here. Stoneforge Greaves, turn 1, gain 1 power. There's also Shivering Totem on turn 1 and 2. Enchanted Dice with Glimmer. The fact that we have a spell in Mulch that returns the same dice that's put into it does make having Glitter especially powerful for us. And then Gaia's Grasp, turn 1, roll a Sapling, which persists between rounds and increases its value over time. I'm going to take the Shimmering Totem for this. The reason that I pointed out earlier. There is a 2 elite path possibility. Let's check it out. The enemies are undying, and I'm ruptured, which means we are going to have to overdefend like hell. Woof. And then on turn 2, all the enemies have 4 block, and we're receiving 2 damage at the end of this turn. Ooh, big Mulch. With 2 weak, I'm also probably not really damaging the enemies this turn, so I do want to wait out another turn. However, I suppose I might be able to do just a little bit of damage this turn. Throw a couple javelins at the back line and set up a Shambler to be able to die in a single hit. This means that a full aggressive turn is capable of taking out both Shamblers next turn. Oh, never mind, I'm weakened again. That's not going to happen then. And I'm going to be weakened again next turn. I'd love to get some thorns. Oh boy, would I love to get some thorns in this build. There's 2 damage coming in from Tempest at the end of this turn. So I do have to make sure to defend for at least that much. And I can. Unfortunately, I get weakened yet again this turn, slowing everything back down. But a single 2 and a 3. Pop into Autumn's Veil, and I can mulch my 6 down into a 5, so I can actually use it in the Javelin, and now we should be skating on out of this fight. Single 5 in the Javelin takes the enemy. Presence of Mind, really good potion. Probably going to help us with the elites a bit later. Gain 3 Foresight. Infused Scales and Fleeting Might. Infused Scales, I could... No. This doesn't give a die with a value higher than itself. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to do the same kind of, like, glimmer abuse that I was doing in a recent episode. Fleeting Might. Gain X power, receive X drain. Drain meaning you lose all of that power equal to the drain you have at the end of the turn. Fleeting Might would not be an awful way for me to try and deal some damage here. That said, I think I take Infused Scales. As Infused Scales is definitely another way to utilize Glimmer, still worthwhile. But a lot of the time, more than a 3 means nothing to me for the sake of defending. And I may need to defend for more than that. What with the whole I'm ruptured for 5 on turn 1? Anyone multi-striking is gonna absolutely give me the business. Like, the Corrupt Abbot? Oh boy. It's gonna be a toughie of a time. Gonna infuse some scales here. Get another 3. Pop this in mulch, lowering its value by only 1, but increasing the other die a couple of times. And then as I pop this into Autumn's Veil, I gain enough defense to make my way comfortably through this. In fact, I can even start setting up a target with Javelin for the next turn to die. Well, hopefully for the next turn to die. Of course, they are going to have 4 blocks, so I would have to go pedal to the metal to make that happen. No, I should be responsible and defend. Actually can get some Javelin damage out. Javelin damage, obviously intended to say that. We'll infuse scales, lowering the value of this by 2, and then Autumn's Veil with a Glimmer, increasing the value back to 5, so that I can Javelin again for 5 more damage. And I take none this turn. So I'll be able to take out the Living Embers before they have to do any damage in this next turn. Yay! No more Glimmer die, unfortunately. Single Infused Scale sets up for the ability to take out the backline target without having to deal with the damaging outcomes. I don't understand from whence I'm gaining 3 additional block this round. So if the enemy is damaging me, every turn remove 1 charge from the leftmost spell. It looks like it's saying that it's going to take the final charge away from Autumn's Veil as I end my turn here, but that says every turn. It happens at the start of turn, not at the end of turn. I almost want to let it happen just to see what'll happen. Like, I can mulch this die to a lower value. And if I Javelin you, I'm so confused. Okay, yeah, the intent system is taking the effect from diminishment and adding it to the end of the turn, but the calculation for damage was still correct, so visually it's just showing that it's also going to be depleting this, and in doing so giving us 3 block, even if it's not doing so. Odd. Do want to damage this enemy as much as I can, and as much as I can would unfortunately not be an incredible amount this time. Okay. I believe that via a little bit of mulch in here, yep, I can get 10 damage worth on 3 casts of the Javelin, taking out the Treant. Like a 6-minute fight rate at this point. Woof. Gleaming Exterior. I have actually always wanted to use this. Let's see if anything else has something more relevant there. So Force of Nature will accept any die 3 times a turn on an odd, deal X damage on an even, gain X block. You can increase the damage by 4 or the block by 3 with upgrades. Carapace only accepts evens 2 times a turn. It gains 8 block, and then you receive 1 sap. So being able to put only a 2 into this and then gain 8 block, that's still pretty huge. You can upgrade it to take any even and give you 8 block. It feels very, 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 very good. Alternatively, you can give it the ability to accept any die whatsoever, and also, it'll give you 2 additional charges. So 8 block from the first one, 7 block from the second, 6, and then 5. Gleaming Exterior. On a 1 to a 5, gain X block. 1 time a turn, but also gain 1 blessing, increasing all die on the next turn by a value of 1. You can even give this a second charge, or you can give it 2 X blocks, so put a single 5 in this and then gain 10 block and 1 blessing. I want to take it. Let's head to an event. Ooh, 8 max health for the Gilded Dowsing Rod. I do like it. I like it a lot. While moving on the map, gain 7 gold each move, so we gain 7 while we move to the shard, and then we'll gain another 7 as we move to this shop. Oh, Hammer of Mana. -1 countdown to all spells each turn. Also, the Helmet of Composure on turn 3, gain 4 power. I love those. I'm not really going to be able to use them, I don't think, though. Glint Glaive. For 14, 2 times a turn, deal 22 damage. Also, increase by 4 damage for each blessing. That could replace Javelin for us. I'd have to sell 2 spells right now if I really wanted to just buy one of the artifacts. I don't think that's going to happen. Kill Shot. 5 countdown, deals 7 damage. If lethal, roll a 5 to a 6. 2 times a turn. This early on, I could see the use in that. But I'm going to be taking Glint Glaive, and I'm going to see if I can get myself more blessing. Take Glaive. I'm gonna swap that out with Javelin. I can upgrade the Glaive so it'll accept 2 4 2 6s, which means effectively that I can invest 8 in it and cast it, but it's still 2 die. Or I can increase the damage it does per blessing. It's going to be difficult for me to generate a Glaive every turn, so I think having countdown so that I can socket value in it turn over turn is going to be useful. So I tend to think that increasing its damage is the way I'm going to want to go, but currently I can increase its damage more effectively by getting a second charge of Gleaming Exterior, so I have the ability to actually gain Blessing more than once a turn. So this would just be investing, you know, a 5 and a 5 in Gleaming Exterior, and then whatever is left over into the Glaive, and then I hit the enemy for 30 damage. So it's like a 2-turn setup, but it comes with its own defense as well. I'll take it. Let's increase the charges in Gleaming, and I want to take a Branding Tonic just to try and help me get through the next 2 elites. I will. That's 3 turns of dealing 50% extra damage. After we get these 2 shards, we will be so much more comfortable. Ooh, love a turn I don't have to defend, especially because I'm ruptured like hell. Okay, I'm gonna mulch. I'm gonna mulch, squad. I then intend to Gleaming Exterior twice. Do I? Maybe I just cast Glaive, 22 damage on the enemy. Maybe I start with Branding Tonic. Okay. I mean, yeah, 33 damage on turn 1. What am I gonna say, no? Two 5s and a 4. Hot damn. I should try and abuse mulch a little bit before I just walk away from this turn. I can develop additional die, you see. Start charging up that Glaive. And then on this following turn, I roll with Blessing, so we just get good die. I like this. I like this as a strategy. This one will do. Let's go for Gleaming Exterior. We're doing that twice, ideally. I don't even need to defend after that. I can continue investing in the next Glaive, and then the next Glaive is going to go off next turn. Unfortunately, the enemy is no longer going to be marked by then, but I will be doing 30 damage. Okay. Gleaming Exterior twice. And then a big old Glaive. And then next turn, frankly, I just need to invest in the Glaive until the enemy is dead. And that's going to be very easy when the Blessing makes my rolls high enough to just instantly fund it. I like this build so far. Preemptive Strike. For 7 countdown, 2 times a turn, deal 10 damage. If the target is attacking, also apply a marked. You can apply 3 marked after an upgrade, or you can increase its damage. I mean... So effectively, that would become, I need to set up this on the turn before I do Glaive. It's a lot that they're asking right there. Solidify, 7 countdown, 2 times a turn, gain 2 barrier. Barrier again is gain 2 block at the end of turn, or rather gain X block at the end of the turn, equal to the amount of barrier you have. And then there's Earthbane. Only accept odds. 2 times a turn, deal X damage. If you use 1 to do so, also gain a barrier. I'm gonna reroll here. I want to find something in the realm of spikes or mana manipulation. So power. 4 countdown, 3 times a turn, gain a power. When depleted, interesting. Gain 2 power is one of its upgrades. There's also Shatter. Oh, also depleted modifier on this. Cool. Accepts an odd, deals 2x damage to the front enemy. When depleted, apply 4 weak to the front enemy. And then finally, Primal Craze. 10 countdown, 2 times a turn, convert block to power and drain. Unrestorable. You can also make it cost only 5, so it's easy to suddenly cast. Or you can give it gain 1 lifesteal. Wow. Lifesteal, of course, being 20% of damage dealt with the spell attacks for a single turn. Heals you. I'm honestly leaning closest towards So Power here, but I don't want any of these. So because I know I don't want any of these, I'm actually going to take Primal Craze, just in case I find everything else, and it's suddenly a really good idea. Ooh, Tempest. Cast 3 countdown spells, then -3 to the leftmost playable countdown spell. That makes Autumn Veil a lot of the time more free defense. I like that. So do you start the game with a shard? Why do I have a shard already? Oh, yeah, you do. Yeah, there's the unguarded shard. I forgot about that last episode, and I made a whole big deal about how I didn't know where the final shard was from, and now I feel very foolish indeed. Okay, I hear you in the comments. I should probably take one of these that isn't just the class I'm playing, to give me an opportunity to get something cool and synergistic. So with this build, what would I really like? I would like some countdown synergy would be nice, some very effective countdown spells. Something that depletes very effectively. Foresight? Let's look for water. Well, I mean, with Tempest, I was looking at Brine Bubble immediately here, which is even, gain 4 block. On a 6, also reroll the die. But Winter's Bite. Oh, Winter's Bite with an upgrade rolls 2 die. Interesting. So Winter's Bite, if I put this on the left-hand side, is diminished. It's also a cheap countdown, so Tempest will cast it easily. I can invest 2 die into Winter's Bite, and then it will roll 2 die back, as well as increment Tempest twice, and do some damage along the way. I think Winter's Bite is actually ideal in this build. It's probably more valuable than Infused Scales at this point, now that I have Gleaming and Autumn's Veil. I'm not gonna put Winter's Bite on the left-hand side yet. After I upgrade it to roll an additional die, I will. But right now, especially because I'm going into an elite fight that could easily be the Corrupt Abbot, which I dread. Thank you for being the corruption. This is so much better. You're not even attacking on turn 1. You summon. So this 5 Rupture is irrelevant. That's the wording I'm looking for there. I'm gonna put a 2 into Winter's Bite and hit the enemy so that I can then mulch my Glimmer up. So that I can then mulch something else. Whee! Tempest automatically casts Autumn's Veil for us, and I'm just gonna gain 2 Blessing for next turn. Incoming damage this turn is 16, I should recall. Trying to generate some extra die here. There we go. We can invest those 2 1s into a Winter's Bite. A single 6 into an Autumn's Veil to double cast it as well as gain the deplete value. I will be taking some damage this turn. There we go. We're being sapped this turn, but the enemies aren't attacking, so we're all good. A single 1 and a 5 is enough to get the 2 blessing, that then sets up for the damage from Glint Glaive to be 30 against the backliner. And in fact, the backliner now only has 22 health, so as long as I'm not weakened this round, which I'm not, simply charging up the Glint Glaive and throwing it at the enemy, which is pretty guaranteed, courtesy of the whole double blessing from the previous turn, we'll take him out. I should definitely take a shard this time. It would be pretty difficult to convince me otherwise. Flowing mana, a new spell. Nurture. Return a dice with +2 value. 2 times a turn. It accepts a 1 to a 2. Do I want that more than Mulch? It makes it harder for me to utilize my... what's your word for it? What's your word for it? It makes it harder for me to utilize my Glimmer, unless the Glimmer is on a low die specifically. But I guess currently I can only use Glimmer if it's on anything except for a 1, so it is still usable. I'll take Nurture. God, I was wondering if something like this would come up. Pretty confuser. Turn 1, add 1 charge to all countdown spells. Thankfully, I actually want to deplete my countdown spells, so I don't care about having the additional charge. I can happily take the shard. I was wondering if I would see something like Hammer of Mana or something like that I might actually take. Yep. Winter's Bite, please roll additional die for us. And then please exhaust faster. So this is a really good way to launder my low die, which does take away a little bit from the value of Nurture. I suspect Nurture is something that I add when I unlock an additional slot for a very short period of time. Get Javelin out of here. I know I'm not going to need that. That said, on a run like this, where I've got 50% less gold from fights, I could definitely consider a strategy where I never disenchant a spell, because I can still sell them to the shop for full value. Oh, this is perfect. I'm going to Winter's Bite the main twice. Rolling 2 new die. There we go. And then I am going to mulch this 3 down twice. Gaining a bunch of pluses. And then I'm going to double up on Autumn Veil. And 1 Gleaming Exterior. Sure, that's 2 damage incoming this round, but... pretty good for turn 1, where we have to deal with a Rupture. Too broken, and really like not to see too broken applied to us here. Mulch a 3 so that the 4 is now mulchable. Although, I'll invest in Winter's Bite first. Which then casts Winter's Bite again. I do forget about Tempest from time to time. Incoming damage this turn is only 4... Sorry, it's actually 6. Which I will entirely block with the Gleaming Exterior. And in fact, I'll do that now. 2 5s. And then if I mulch this Glimmered 4, I will get the largest size die possible for Glint Glaive. Okay. So unfortunately, I am going to be broken this upcoming turn. And cursed by 1. It's just Presence of Mind is so powerful, I just don't think I need to use it right now, and I could only really justify using it when it desperately needs to be. Blessings up, blessings down. I'm gonna put a single 3 into a Winter's Bite first. And then mulch a 5, because that will give me a 1, which is a very easy die to use to open a Glint Glaive or something like that. Although I should... well, actually, Glint Glaive is fine, because if I damage the enemy this turn, we're good. Next 2 goes into Winter's Bite, which will also Tempest cast a Autumn's Veil for us, as well as rolling some die. Oh, this is great. I can use a Gleaming Exterior, a 1 to open the Gleaming Exterior, rather, and then mulch in order to generate a 5 so that I can actually gain some blessing. Even more blessing. And then throw Glint Glaive for 30 damage. That'll also stun the Heart of the Forest and leaves us with Tempest on 3 charges. I'm really excited for this run. This one looks like it'll be a goodie. Invest a single 3 into Winter's Bite, and that will then invest another 3 into Winter's Bite. I do want to defend myself against some incoming damage this turn, so a 3 into Autumn's Veil. I will mulch a 6 down into a 5, as well as generating a 2. Pop that into Gleaming Exterior, do the same again. Generating a 4 to go into Autumn's Veil, which will then also cast Tempest again, giving us even additional block on top of that. I defend against all 20 incoming. I am double cursed this turn, but I'm also double blessed. I believe they lower first at all times, so we will always end up with the highest result here. Yeah, they lower first, and then they raise back to what they were. My goal right now is very simple. Just gain some blessing and then hit the enemy in the head. Autumn's Veil defense will give us Winter's Bite offense, which will roll 2 additional die, which, because even if both of them were 1s, I would still be able to follow up with Glint Glaive. Makes for a pretty good turn here. Unfortunately, due to the distribution of them, I'm still not going to be really over the moon about this. A 2 would have been great. Would have freed up a 5 to go into a different area, alas. Realistically, the only thing here to do is invest into the next Glint Glaive and get ready to take out the Heart of the Forest on the next turn. That'll do it. A 5 and a 6. Well, yeah. Annoyingly, I am going to set myself to a bad value for Tempest here. I should have considered that. because that does persist between fights. Back to full health, we gain 21 gold, we gain an additional shard, and I don't want to roll less die each turn. Although the critical is pretty good. Unstable Mana Core. Roll 2 extra dice each turn. After you cast 2 spells, destroy a random dice. No! And Leyline Focus. Roll an additional die each turn. On turn 1, all enemies gain 1 power. Currently, I need to over-defend on turn 1 already. I feel like this doesn't change that as much as it just gives me the ability to do it more consistently. I'd love to have a source of weaken, but that's not really Hazel's thing. Okay. Safest path would actually be this left hand. Gives us the ability to get an early shop and then 2 events thereafter. And I do want to hit a shop this floor. Having a look at the shard. I mean, realistically here, it's Glint Glaive, increase the damage. What do I mean realistically here? Like, I'm sad about it. That's great. Doesn't increase the base damage, only increases the scaling with Blessing, but it increases it by another 6, so 12 more damage after we've cast 2 Gleaming Exteriors. Pop a 3 into Autumn's Veil, a 5 into Gleaming Exterior, and then the Glimmered 3 into Mulch, so that I'm generating an additional die and then adding a +2 to it. Then I'll invest that 3 into Autumn's Veil, and then that Glimmered 2 into Winter's Bite, which will then also cast the Tempest. So I can generate some additional die on top of that. We can use 1 more 3 in this instance to finish off Autumn's Veil as well. If I mulch a 6 down into a 5, I now have the ability to defend with another 5. Incoming damage is completely negated. In which case I should have used only the 2 in Gleaming Exterior and instead invested a 5 and a 3 into Glint Glaive to lower it by 8. Burning Triad's getting 3 grow this round, rude. But a Glint Glaive turn that gets the appropriate amount of Blessing is capable of killing it instantly. So there's that too. I'm going to cast Winter's Bite, which will also cast Winter's Bite. Rolling 2 additional die for us. Put this 2 into Gleaming Exterior for some defense, giving me the ability to mulch with this Glimmered 6 in order to generate a bunch of additional die as well. I'm trying to see if there's a way to do it twice. So Glint Glaive, your base cost is 14, which means that it still costs 2 die to cast you now. And it would take all of my die to cast it again afterwards. Even if I save this Glimmered 5 for a Gleaming Exterior, I end up with 13 at the very end. Oh. Oh, really? Ouch. That hurts. Well, I should still gain as much defense here as I can. That's okay. One enemy's off the field. I gotta settle for killing one enemy a turn. That's actually good. That's completely fine. Throw this 4 into Gleaming Exterior. And then mulch this 3. Another 1 into Gleaming Exterior, mulching this 2. Actually, no, I'll just Winter's Bite, which will cast another Winter's Bite. Just exclusively rolls high after that. That's great. Glaive takes the enemy out and sets Tempest to 2, putting it in an ideal position for the start of the next fight. I want to have that every single fight. Turn 1, having Tempest ready to immediately cast increases not only my damage potential on the turn 1, which isn't especially relevant, courtesy of the fact that the enemies... Where are you? Courtesy of the fact that the enemies are undying on turn 1, but it does increase my ability to defend very effectively. Spike Seeds and Thorns, love it. Helm Monolith, I know you would change. You used to only have 1 charge. It's a 10 countdown, 2 times a turn, deal 18 damage. You can increase its damage by 8 to do 26, or you can also deal 4 weakness at the same time. Flourish. That's a way to roll some high die. Don't know if I really want that one, though. I'm just going to take Flourish and walk on, because I'm still looking to go to that shop. Ah, they did nerf Arcane Infusion. I was talking recently about how this is so much better of an option as a spell versus Spell Catalyst, which is right next to it here. Spell Catalyst, I know they aren't directly analogous, but I think it makes a relatively good point to say, Energized, a die which I've only ever seen 1 source of, and it's this ritual. When that die is spent in a spell, increases that spell's damage and block by 4. For that cast, exclusively for that cast. Arcane Infusion, target attack spell gains 4 extra damage this combat. Sick. Laughspell. We took this in the last episode. We know that Laughspell does not allow us to avoid... to deplete something and then also be able to deplete it again afterwards by using it as the last cast. However... Laughspell going into Gleaming Exterior seems completely fine by me. That's more Blessing. That going into Mulch seems okay. 2 or 3 could totally do that. Helps me increase the value of all my die. I'm going to take the Laughspell. Well, I mean, it's either that or it's Arcane Infusion, and then Winter's Bite just gets 4 additional damage this combat every 3rd turn. Because I cast Winter's Bite twice a turn. But twice a turn? Is that really worth it? That's just 8 damage turn 2 and R2. I'm going to take the Laughspell. I think it's more interesting. Hello, imps. Don't multi-attack me on turn 1, eh? What are you doing? That's damage. Trying to do a 9 and a 9 to me. Rudely. Excuse me? Why is my Tempest not set correctly? I thought I did. Does that reset between fights? Have I been... Seems like I might. Let's pop 2 3s into Autumnal Veil. And then a 2 into Winter's Bite, which will then Tempest Winter's Bite again, rolling additional die for us. Okay. 3 in Autumn Veil. If I mulch this, it'll turn into a 6, and then the 6 will give me another +2. I'm going to do that again. Pop that in Gleaming Exterior as well. One more in Gleaming Exterior, and now I'm taking no damage. I've also almost charged Laughspell. Half charge on turn 1. 3 enemies attacking? No, I do want to wait for enemies that are multi-attacking. Even the Djinn might be good to play the Spiked Seed on. There has to be a way on board, I believe, in order to generate double Glint Glaive after a Gleaming Exterior this turn. It's simply through mulching for a lot of value, I believe. Works. So then 5 in the first Glint Glaive. Takes out one of the enemies that's trying to attack. Then that also casts Winter's Bite once for us. Realistically, I should cast Winter's Bite again right now, because I can cast the Glaive afterwards no matter what. But this gives me the potential of possibly doing even more. A Glint Glaive to take out that enemy. Go. That Tempest casts a Autumn Veil for us, and then I'm going to roll my last spell. There we go. We get a 1, which I put into Gleaming Exterior, gaining a blessing, and getting an additional charge so I could gain another blessing. 3 blessing into the next turn is going to make it pretty much impossible not to just dunk this enemy out of existence immediately. Yeah, what with the 6, and then the 4, and then another 6 in it. Excuse me. Okay, never mind. I'll have to mulch first then. Wow, can't believe you made me do that. But there you go, 32. Got him with a Glint Glaive. As soon as I find a better source of blessing. Oh boy. Oaken Self, this used to be rare, now it isn't. Hello. Depleted. Gain a blessing. Is that actually good? I don't think so. Tracking. Gain 3 block. Apply 1 mark to a target enemy, and then extinct. Extinct them with your instinct. Apply a marked and apply a daze. Apply a marked and a power. Shop's coming up relatively soon, so I still don't want to spend things I don't need to. Tracking. Gain 3 block. Apply 1 mark to a random enemy. I can also gain 3 delayed block with that. It's pretty efficient for a 3. I'll take it. Unfortunately, I will have to discard a spell before I get to the next store. Oh, cool. They're not attacking on turn 1. I like it when they do that. Okay, yeah, Tempest is getting reset at the start of the fights anyway, so I don't have to worry about optimizing it anymore. Cool. I'm gonna give myself some blessing. Rather than all the blessing this turn, so that I'm capable of practically eviscerating the Desert Spirit. Oh, 2 die are silenced. As soon as I sent it a spell. Oh, boy. So I can take out the Desert Spirit with just a Glint Glaive immediately. but I should block as well. This Winter's Bite, I think, will then mute itself using Tempest to cast Auden's Veil, so I managed to avoid damage this turn. Of course, this turn is horrifically muted. But I have no incoming damage this turn as well, so... quite easy to just throw a single Glint Glaive at you, and then start charging for the next one, and then we end the fight the turn after. Beauty! Looks like we're well on our way to our first victory with Hazel C. Morphosis. Deplete another spell, and then gain 1 power for each charge removed. There's also Onslaught on a 2 to a 6, deal X damage. If marked is on the target, return dice with 1 lower value. I'm not really going to be applying marked much here. Cultivate Might, 5 to 6, 3 times a turn. On odd, gain X block. On even, gain 1 power. So out of these, it's definitely Morphosis. And then we just drop, like, Infused Scales. I'm probably also going to get rid of Morphosis immediately, to be fair. Ooh, Trap Spellwind on turn 1, roll an additional die. Do love doing that. That makes it a much easier time for me to set up my blessings on turn 1 as well as defend. Ring of Block on turn 1, gain 1 Fortify. +1 block gained from other spells for the rest of the combat. From spells specifically. Okay, cool. So that means Autumn Veil is, giving us suddenly, instead of, maximally 12 block in a single turn, it's giving us maximal 16. That's great. Cube of Darkness. On turn 1, roll a Stygian die, which persists between rounds, and at the end of the turn, attacks the front enemy for its dice value and damage. That's probably the least valuable here for us right now, to me. Ooh, Totem has the ability to give us Blessing. I do like Blessing! That said, let's get rid of Primal Craze. Morphosis. Tracking and Flourish. I'll take the Trap Spellwind and Ring of Block. And then it ultimately comes down to whether or not I think I want to keep Virtue. Virtue, Nurture. Wow, why can't I read right now? Anyhow. Yeah, so that I have something that I can possibly disenchant in the following space. At the absolute least, it's worth having it. Especially because there's an event in the next space. Lose 20 max health, gain a shard. Wow. There's also Stellar Ward. 5 max health, gain Stellar Ward. It's a 6 countdown. Gain 2 block. Also roll a die. Like... And then finally there's... Whoa, Tendrils, you are cheaper than you used to be, I believe, friend. Receive 8 damage to gain Tendrils. 4 countdown, 2 times a turn. Deal 2 damage and apply 2 Rupture to 2 targets. Again, that doesn't really work with my build. The one that works the best here is taking the shards, so I'm going to do that. And this just wants to expand the slots, giving us access to Nurture. One more elite battle. Now I can upgrade Nurtures. Ooh. This feels like an appropriate fight for either Presence of Mind or Spike Seed. They're multi-attacking on turn 1. That's a lot of incoming damage. I'm gonna Spike Seed for this fight. I need to gain as much defense as I possibly can. Up a 3 into Autumn's Veil, a 2 into Winter's Bite. Target the attacker. If I spend this 5 in Gleaming Exterior, which I intend to anyway, I can then Glimmer to generate a 3. That 3 goes into Autumn's Veil. That will also then Tempest out another Winter's Bite, rolling some additional die for us. The small additional die that I create via abusing Glimmer and Mulch can then be nurtured up in value, so I actually really like Nurture in this build. A lot more than I thought I did. Pop a 5 into Gleaming Exterior. And then I can put this 4 into Glint Glaive to prepare casting it, which will then upgrade a 1, which I can nurture into a 3 in order to deplete Autumn Veil for even more defense. That's 28 defense I was capable of generating that turn. And even then, I'm still going to take a big bop. Thorns do some damage, but the frontliner has still got 8 health remaining. Thorns specifically deals sword-based damage. So in response to, I believe it was Corbo's comment a couple episodes ago, yes, Thorns are increased in damage on marked targets. Those do synergize in the Hazel set. Mulching this 3 seems great. Because then I can even mulch it down to a... I'm going to have to hit the front with more than just Winter's Bite this turn. So I may as well just save for the Glint Glaive. Mulch again. Throw that 3 into Autumn Veil, Nurture, generating another 1, and then turning this into a 3. I can Nurture that 1. I do want to roll for Last Ball this turn. Oh my god, that in Gleaming Exterior is incredible. I can cast Gleaming Exterior as many times as I want this turn. Pop this 3 into Autumn Veil, auto-casting Winter's Bite again. A 6 and a 6 casts the first Glint Glaive, and I think I should cast that immediately just to take out the frontliner. Popping this 3 into Autumn Veil defends us for another 8. Oh no, it's not 8. It's 6 because my sap is eliminating my fortitude this turn. I don't have the damage to do another Glint Glaive after this, unfortunately. I do have the mana to do it, but the damage won't be enough to take a target out. Oh, but that's fine. I don't need to take a target out this time. Because I'm already fully defended. Sure, I'm not going to have as much blessing as I want on the next turn, but that's okay. This is enough. Pop a 3 in Autumn's Veil, and then Mulch to create another small die. Autumn Veil one more time, even more defense. Glint Glaive is even charged up. Nurture. Single Blessing gives Glint Glaive the ability to take a target off of the field. Now it's just you and me, Crone. Don't feel so big without your friends around, do you? I just needed to mulch enough extra value out of those die that I was going to be capable of casting Glint Glaive. As well as a blessing. And we've done that. Gold weakness gas, that's very useful for us. Flourish, Shatter, and Stalk. I just got out of a shop, so it's time to reroll if I'm going to do it at all. I've seen all of these this run, and I don't want to see them again. Reroll. Infuse Potency. That's hard to turn down. Bramble Growth is also hard to turn down. Although, probably actually a bit slow for us at this point. Gain Thorns, once depleted, also gain 8 block. And it's a countdown, I do like those. Infuse Potency. 2 unrestorable charges, only accepts a 5 or a 6, and it needs 2 of whatever you give it, so 2 5s or 2 6s. Gives you a Potency. Potency is just roll additional dice on following turns. To me, that represents the ability to much more easily Glint Glaive twice. I'm going to take Infused Potency. Hey, hang on, do I ever do that? Horn of Virtue, get 8+ block from a single spellcast. That will give you a blessing. That doesn't... I don't do that, but that does make a really, really good argument for getting a better defensive spell available. And eventually I am going to need a better defensive spell. What's the additional shard do for us at this point? Opens up the +3 value on Nurture? That is pretty good. My worry is that my current amount of block that I'm capable of generating turn over turn is not going to be enough for the end of the game anyway, so I am going to need to scale up my defense. And if I scale up my defense, it'd be nice if it came with Blessing. Six max health for Amulets. Every third turn, split a random dice in 2. I do just want more die. Choose and gain an artifact for more. Would love that as well. Let's do that. And then in the Sanctuary, disenchant a spell. I think I can get rid of Infused Potency without being too sad about it. And I also definitely need some more max HP. Glad I have a weakness gas for this fight, because this could be a bad one. I'm going to want to leave them on Shadowfire Twin more commonly, because Shadowfire Twin is going to look to curse us, and it's going to look to weaken us. But I can deal with being cursed and weakened. I already balance out the curse myself with the blessing, and I balance out weaken by only really attacking with large hits from Glint Glaive. Okay. Pop a 2 into Winter's Bite. 1 into Nurture, that goes into a 3 into Autumn's Veil, which doesn't auto-cast another thing for me as much as I thought it would. Let's pop a 4 into Autumn's Veil, which will then auto-cast Winter's Bite. Rolling 2 additional die for us. Right. I'll happily pop this 4 into an Autumn's Veil as well, giving me the ability to mulch to generate 2 die here. Sorry, 1 die. Oh. These 2 6s need to go into Glint Glaive. And then this 2 wants to finish off Glint Glaive. And I can defend for the most if I also Gleaming Exterior once beforehand. Then I'll do the double Glint Glaive. Do I want to avoid being Hex next turn? Because I'm not really taking damage this oh, it would only take you multi-attacking for me to suddenly hate that decision. There we go. I'm going to be double Hex next turn. Well, 4 times Hexed, rather, next turn. Suppose maybe that's a good argument to get another Blessing here. Rather than barreling down the line towards another Glint Glaive. All of them are 3s. Because, of course, they all lowered down to 1s and then got increased by 2. So Blessing was so useful in this reckoning. Let's mulch a couple times here. Lothspel is ready. The triple snare next turn as well. I will roll my Lothspel die before I risk losing value on it. Don't need to do any additional defense this turn. As long as I use Gleaming Exterior at all, I'll be comfortable. And I do want to spread the damage out because 1 target on the board does become pretty bad. So let's gain as much Blessing as I am capable of. 6 and a 5 is also enough to cast Glint Glaive, so I should be prepared to do so. Give myself as much blessing as possible. $62 damage Glint Glaive. That also then auto-cast Autumn Veil for us. And I'll invest into the next Glint Glaive. Yeah, 6 weak on a 62 damage hit doesn't really change anything. Oh, wow. That's a great split, actually. It'll give us the ability to invest in Winter's Bite with a 2. And then mulch a 4, giving us another 2. That additional 2 being 1 more Winter's Bite. And also 4 defense from the Autumn's Veil with Tempest Cast. Let's throw the 3 into Autumn Veil. Couple 1 in Nurture and then put back in Autumn Veil. That also then decreases the cost of Glint Glaive further. If I mulch a 2, I can generate another 2. Nurture that die and go for the Gleaming Exterior. Unfortunately, I am going to be wasting basically a 6 worth of value here, but I'll do 36 damage to a target. Incoming damage this turn, again, not really threatening me, so I'll try and even out the enemies. They are going to be gaining some additional power based off of that move. But I am royally, royally unworried. Ooh, popping a Last Ball 2 into Nurture, perhaps. Or even into Mulch. Let's do it with Nurture. Pop 2 4s into Gleaming Exterior, and then mulch this 4, generating a 3 and a 2. That 2 can happily go into Winter's Bite, rolling 2 additional die for us. We roll so low that Nurture is definitely relevant. If I cast Autumn Veil twice, Tempest will make Glint Glaive castable with only a single spell invested. I can only mulch 1 more time this turn. That's okay. If I mulch with the 3, I can generate an additional die that is low enough that I can Nurture again. All that really did was give me the ability to invest a larger amount into the next Glint Glaive. Gotta love how much the Blessing really helps the next turn. Mulch. I'm gonna need to defend this turn, so I'll Nurture that up and then throw it in Autumn Veil. Mulch with the 4 again. Throw that in Autumn Veil. Auto cast Winter's Bite. Another Nurture, and then the ability to Winter's Bite 1 more time. Although I should really be attacking the frontline target at this point. Oops. Roll a Last Ball. That's the best Last Ball I can get. If I put this 4 into Autumn's Veil, it will deplete, giving us additional block, but it will also decrease the cost of Glint Glaive to only 5. I can then invest a single 2 into Gleaming Exterior, and then cast Glint Glaive for a 6, and then start investing in the next Glint Glaive as well. With 1 additional die, we'll be rolling 2 Glint Glaives a turn easily. I don't want Dark Wraith Scythe, because Winter's Bite is a structural importance to my build. to cast Glint Glaive twice this turn to take a unit out. 42 damage isn't enough. So I know I have to cast it once. Then casts Autumn Veil afterwards free. I can pop a 4 into Gleaming Exterior so that the mulch will generate a 2. And then nurture that up into a 4. And then I can mulch it up into a 6. Perfect. That's enough to get a kill this turn. Throwing out the next Glint Glaive. Or I could try and even the playing field. No. We'll stun you this turn. That's a lot of incoming damage. I'm definitely going to need to kill you this turn. Alright. Let's see that happen then. Invest a 2 into Winter's Bite. That will immediately cast Winter's Bite again, courtesy of Tempest. Rolling 2 additional die. Both of those die tend to be high. Thank you. Let's reroll. Wow. I'm going to put a 3, and then a 3, and then a 4, all into Gleaming Exterior. With 3 Blessing, Glint Glaive is now enough to take out the enemy. Alright. Pretty confident fight. Gain some money, another shard. Breadstone. I do prefer this. Roll 1 extra die each turn. On enemy death, receive 2 damage, so that can actually be prevented by block. Now this I don't really understand so much. Aetherweave got changed from turn 1, roll 2 ether die, those ether die are of value 1 to 2, to now, turn 1, roll 1 ether die. And that obviously can be all the way up to value 6. But this is now potentially significantly worse. Because previously, yes, the upside was a maximum of 4, but it was also a minimum of 2. And those 2 could affect different countdown spells, and each of those die could be spent, and each of those die could also be upgraded. So unless Aetherweave was considered to be too powerful, and this is a nerf for it, I don't understand this change. Because I think this is trying to buff it. That's a guess on my part. I'm not necessarily certain about that. Crooked dice, roll an additional die each turn. Rolled 6s, lose 1 value. I do want my 6s still to exist, because they are how I generate all the additional die. Yeah, it's Dreadstone. I want to see a shop next floor. I want to see a good big block spell, and I want to see that block spell while I have a shard ready to invest in it instantly. Early Sanctuary. How many spells am I carrying at the moment? 0. So before this shop, I would gain 1, 2, 3. That's fine. Yeah, we'll do that. We're going for the left-hand side here. I'm going to be rolling with an unspent shard until I find a block spell or something like that. I don't really care about increasing the value of Nurture yet. It won't change anything. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay. I'm going to pop a single 2 into the Winter's Bite first, and then nurture my Glimmered 2 up. I'm going to need to defend this turn as well, so I'll put a 3 in Autumn's Veil, and then I'm going to mulch this Glimmered 4 down twice. I'm trying to get rid of these 3 so they don't distract. There we go. And then I can mulch this Glimmered 2 even further back up. Woohoo! 5 block and Gleaming Exterior. And I get to Glint Glaive for 42 damage here on turn 1, as well as fully defend myself, as well as get the Glint Glaive only 5 away from casting again next turn. It would not be unlikely that this turn I'm going to be capable of blowing up the enemy with multiple Glint Glaives. Let's Gleaming Exterior for defense, and then a Glimmered Mulch. Glimmer that Mulch again. I'm gonna pop a 1 into Glint Glaive with Last Ball in order to give it additional charge. Because here, yeah, exactly. Here we're going to be capable of using all of Glint Glaive and setting up the next one. I don't want to use Autumn Veil here as I'm already set for Tempest next turn. Pop 3 into a Winter's Bite. Actually, also going to double cast Autumn Veil here for the sake of defense. I'm not going to be able to trigger Last Spell this turn. I do need to get some additional die on the table. So I'm going to be casting Glint Glaive twice to take a single unit off the field. I'm fine doing that, I just needed to know that was going to be the case. Six, a 6, and a 2. Gets that Glint Glaive to take out the only enemy that's attacking this turn, and then I'll even gain some more blessing for the next. Roll our additional Last Ball. I'm gonna pop that and then the 5 both into Gleaming Exterior immediately. I actually managed to make a build here where I'm not going to be defended this turn. Not going to be Glint Glaving this turn. Oops. Gonna miss a lot of my value. Oh well. Let's get ready for the Glint Glaive next turn then. Throw the 27 damage of the first Glint Glaive at you, and then just another 27 damage from the second. Alright. Last Spell's actually working out pretty well in this build. It's just more blessing every second turn-ish. Impure Ritual. I do like this. Receive 2 Foresight, gain 1 Curse. It does feel quite abusable with Blessing. But also, I feel like on an appropriate turn, I'm already capable of generating all the things I need, and I don't need that to help me. Instead, what I want, what I need, what I pray for, is a good block spell. Focus of Nature. On even, gain X plus 3 block. So if I invest a 6 into that, that is 9 block, which is also a blessing for us. There's also Pox Flare here. The ability to apply Pox to enemies. Not really relevant to me. I'm going to take the Force of Blessing. Probably not going to be able to use it, though. Ritual. -7 countdown to a target spell. That's the ability to cast Glint Glaive much more comfortably. These enemies have Frenzy. Each time I cast a spell, they are going to get more powerful. That's going to be kind of annoying. I could foresee needing to use my weakness gas on these. Drop a 3 into Autumn Veil, because I know that's always going to be happening here. And then Nurture. Two into Winter's Bite. I have to figure out what to do with this 1. I really want to mulch this 3 down twice and then nurture it back up, getting a bunch of extra value out of the Glimmer. But that is asking me to also get less value out of Gleaming Exterior. You know what? I am going to apply the weakness to all enemies this turn. I think I need it. Going to be killing that frontline target with Glint Glaive this turn as well. There we go, mulching down, and then nurturing back up. Although I already know I'm investing that 3 into the Autumn Veil, so I might as well do that first. Perfect. Oh, actually, the second liner... Oh, I can't kill either of you this turn. Okay, yeah, that's gonna make my life a lot harder. I'm losing half of my health bar here. I do need more defense. I have been saying it every day. Two casts of Winter's Bite will take out the Wrath Voidling in the front line. The second one, unfortunately, is guarded. We're dropping this 4 into Gleaming Exterior to open the ability to mulch. Drop a 3 into Autumn's Veil. Keep that mulching going. Drop that 3 into Autumn's Veil as well. Then we'll nurture this Glimmered 1 up into a 3, and then it can also go into Autumn's Veil. After I pop a 5 into Gleaming Exterior. Do I want to roll my Lot Spore right now? I think I might want to roll that next turn. There's the Winter's Bite kill we were looking for. We can follow up with a Glint Glaive. Each new spell I cast right now is more damage that I take. I don't like that. But annoyingly, it is going to make the next turn so much easier if I just let that Glaive fly. 12 health remaining this turn, but I should be able to take out the enemies, thankfully. Now I don't have to worry about the Glimmer anymore. Put 3 into Autumn's Veil and then 1 into Winter's Bite. Which will double cast the Winter's Bite. There we are. Hello. The 4 and a 5 into Gleaming Exterior. So now my Glint Glaive is enough to take a target out by itself. Boom. And in fact, I can nurture, mulch, nurture, mulch. Woo! Just create an additional die out of nothing. And that will create an additional death out of nothing as well. Glint Glaving the enemy. I need a heal. Crystal Snort, gain 3 power. Ultimate power, double your power. Shatter and Impure Ritual. I'm re-rolling for a defensive spell again. Gleaming Force, hello. Deal damage when depleted, gain power. I do like it. Desolation, deal damage to all enemies. On the 12, re-roll the dice. Return the dice. What's your offer? We're gonna hit the Gleaming Force here, and I'm gonna be pretty sad about it still. I almost feel like I need to upgrade the Force of Nature and then put it into the build. Like, that's literally where I'm at right now. Nurture is really actually kind of like, it's big. It's just I'm not capable of defending for enough each turn. If I save all of my 6s for Gleaming Exterior specifically, or for Force of Nature even specifically, rather. In fact, 4s in Force of Nature give me 4 plus 3, plus an additional 1 because of Fortify, which is enough block to give me a blessing. And I can do that 3 times a turn. It's just, I also feel like I need Gleaming Exterior in the build, so I have enough block. There's a world that I don't love where Winter's Bite is the one that needs to go. I don't want to die right now. I'm gonna make that substitution. I'm not happy about it. I'm really actually quite mad. But I can't just, run into a fight like this, where all the enemies attack on the same turn. Yeah, that's 30 damage on turn 1 we're looking at. And die. I don't want to just walk into this fight and have to concede. Nurture 2 1s into 3s so that they can use Autumn Veil by themselves. Defending is for a total of 12. And then I need to use some mulch shenanigans on this board. I'm gonna put a single 6 into Force of Nature. And then a 2 4s into Gleaming Exterior. And then a 6 back into Force of Nature. So that's 4 blessing that we've got for the next turn. And of course I won't be ruptured by 5. That's important. Yeah, pretty good die. This will help me generate a lot of extra die using mulches this turn. Pop that 3 immediately into Autumn Veil for full defense. I want to generate a low value die, so I'll put a 6 into mulch, which will then mulch my Glimmered 5 up into a 6, and then also give me a 1, which I have the ability to pop into this Nurture. If 6s are the last things I have available, and I'm going to gain 3 more blessing before the end of this. Okay, I'm going to be able to kill one of the enemies. It's... Put a 6 into Nurture. Force of Nature, rather. Twice. Actually, already have enough to take one of the fields. I'll do that instead. Glint Glaive creates an additional size. I can use... Ooh. I will roll my last spell this turn. That's a 3 and a 6, casts the first Glint Glaive. And then I also just decrease your countdown cost to only 1 die needing to be invested in next turn. Oh, blessing a awful hand up into an incredible one. Another 3 for the double cast of Autumn Veil. Keep me well defended, thank you. A 2 in Gleaming Exterior gives me the ability to mulch a 5 up into a 6 and a 1, with enough left over to cast Glint Glaive. That'll be enough to take 1 target off the field, and then it comes down to... I guess just pre-investing in the next Glint Glaive. So I could heavily defend and then attack the enemy for only 1 with Force of Nature in order to avoid big downsides this turn. I have to use an odd to do that though. So I'll generate a 2 via this, and then Nurture... Oops. Well, never mind. I can use my final mulch in order to actually create the Force of Nature I was looking for. Here goes... Spell block removal. And I can definitely afford to cast Glint Glaive another time with these 3 6s as well as the red candle. Goodbye, buddies. Hello, gold. Maul. This also got made slightly worse. Used to do 6 damage and then gain block equal to the unblocked damage dealt. Now it does 5. Things change. Killshot and Maul. Nope, still don't want both of you. Maul, you are capable, theoretically, of doing enough damage in order to gain more defense. From enough defense to trigger Horn of Virtue, but you're not likely to. Revitalize. 4 countdown, 1 time a turn, +1 value to all dice. You can also give 1 blessing. That's incredible. I often end up with a lot of 6s. This will then just generate extra 1s out of those 6s. Those 1s are great for nurturing. Those 1s are great for extra charges of gleaming exterior. Those 1s are great for just generating more Glint Glaive. Does it go into the build right now, though? Ultimately, it just comes up against the fact that Nurture is in its slot at the moment. But realistically, yeah, it does go into the build right now. 60 gold on turn 1, gain 4 power and receive 4 drain. And then I lose that power on turn 2. And also, I can't really do damage on well, I can do damage on turn 1, I just don't do much. 25 gold for a Void spell, or I can get a Berserk potion for 15 Fury. I kinda don't want to take any of these. Berserk potion, is that better than Crystal Snort? Crystal Snort for the final fight is incredible. Flowing mana, reroll all dice. Yeah, it's pretty good, but it becomes invalidated quite quickly. 15 Fury is not that relevant to us, though. Choose and gain a Void spell. Void spells can be really good. And worst case scenario, I can sell it for 20 gold in the shop in the next space. Choose and gain a Void spell, thank you. Okay. Darkstar. Auto cast on an attack spell cast. Deal 2 damage to a random target. So Dark Arts. Apply to Rupture. Increase Rupture by 2 this combat. Upgrades to 3. Those both don't really work with my build, but Glimpse of the Void. What about you? 2 6s gives us 1 potency. Roll an additional die every turn. Also, apply Broken to a random other spell, so I just need to open that spell back up. I'm going to take Glimpse of the Void. I don't know if I'll be using it, but I will take it. Let's head to the shop. Silver Hobik. Reduce health loss by 1. Neat. Protective Feather on turn 1. Gain 3 barrier. Actually, is that good? 3 barrier, turn 1. I mean, yes, it's good. It isn't necessary for this build, though. I typically over-defend that. There's also Vengeful Dagger. When attacked by an enemy, gain 2 Fury. I mean, none of these are bad, but I don't know if they're good either. Mend Magic. Add a charge to a target spell. Takes a 5 to do so. That would give us the ability to deplete Winter's Bite multiple times. Alright. Silver Hobik reducing health loss by 1 might actually help save us at some point. I could see that. Protective Feather, similar. If I sell spells here, I'm selling, I guess, Winter's Bite. As much as I really did want to include it in this build, it is running smooth without it, and it opens an additional shard. That's only selling 40 worth of stuff. Even if I mended magic and did Winter's Bite as many times as I want, I give it an additional charge. I cast it. I give it an additional charge. I cast it. I guess ultimately that does give us more progress on Tempest as well. So it's not just accomplishing that 3 additional damage. It's just I need that additional, generation of die to perform something for me for it to be worthwhile. I suspect the 3 additional barrier might actually be the one that I want to go for here. I think I do make this sail and then use the additional shard to open an additional space. When the build is going off well, will I ever need Glimpse of the Void? Counterpoint. If I sell Glimpse of the Void right now, do I get any benefit? I get money to not spend. That doesn't seem like a good benefit for me right now. I think I only want to sell things that are going to open up additional shards for us. Unless I was going to sell 2 additional things at this point and then get the Vengeful Dagger or the Silver Hobak. Alright. This is the order of things, I think. Do I want to get rid of a flowing mana in order to gain a different spell? And a different potion. And I will. I'm going to take Smokescreen to get 1 dodge. So that in the instance that 1 big hit is going to screw me, no it won't. Omniscience. Reroll a 6, gain a Foresight. I mean, I get it for free, so no need to turn that down. I don't really need that. Currently, I have a lot of ways to invest my 6s already. I don't suspect that will really help me. So an elite battle, that would give me an additional shard. That additional shard could go into either Nurture or Revitalize. Revitalize would get an additional blessing. Nurture would give the ability to grow larger. Are there any elite battles that just screw me straight up this floor? Like, I'm dead. Can't think of one. This'll hurt! This'll hurt! The enemy is going to be hitting for 13 by 3 on turn 1. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Okay. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was very wrong. Increase the value of this with a Nurture. Be lying, cheating, and stealing to gain additional defense this turn. I put a 3 and then a 4 into Autumn's Veil. I can then afford to use this Glimmered 3 in Mulch, guaranteeing the generation of another die. If I nurture, I also generate another die and then get my Glimmered 4 back, and that Glimmered 4 can go into Revitalize. Giving us a bunch of new die again. Then there's 3 6s in this set for Force of Nature. Now I'm not taking any additional damage, and I can mulch to generate as much extra value as I can get. This is a total of 9 represented here. Which means I put the most potent 3 into Glint Glaive, and then just invest in gaining 2 more barrier for the next turn. So yeah, a full defensive turn from a standing start can still block enough. That's really good news. Oh, you split the Glimmer die, did you? Oh. That's good. I'm gonna Revitalize, generating a whole bunch of 1s. We'll Lapsable. Then mulch. Feeling like I'm going to mulch twice here, in fact. I suspect our Lotsball 2 might be best invested into Nurture. Let's just start doing some stuff to manage our board size at the moment. So, Force of Nature, you take 6s, and you give me Blessings. I'm now fully defended against the enemy. I don't need to cast Autumn Veil. There's no special reason that would help me. I can Glimmer Nurture a 1. Gaining an effective +3 to the board state. Lotsball is removed from a die once you invest it in something, so I can't just Nurture and then Gleaming Exterior with a Lotsball 4 as much as I would love to. I suspect the best value I can get here is by using Gleaming Exterior as many times as possible. Well, that's unless I think I can cast Glint Glaive more than 3 times this turn. Well, more than 2 times this turn. Yeah, I can. I absolutely can. Let's do that then. So we have to invest the Lotsball 2 into Glint Glaive. There's 72 damage with the first Glint Glaive. Decrease its cost by 7. And then I'll invest another 7 into it. And in fact, that will leave me with exactly 14 via all those glimmers to cast 1 more Glint Glaive for 72 damage to the front line. Take him out. Beauty. None of these are enough block. Proliferate, Cultivate Mind, Spring Action, I'll re-roll. Sanctify Shell, eh? Gain 2 block. Could upgrade it to gain more. I wonder if that should be my replacement for Autumn Veil at this point, because I do generate most of my defense from Force of Nature, so this just rolls an additional 5 or 6 for us. Yeah. On any spell depleted, gain a Fury, not really relevant to us, so I'll happily take the shard instead. Sanctify Shell instead of Autumn Veil. And then the shard is capable of either giving us additional defense from Sanctify or giving it the ability to roll additional 5 and 6s. Honestly, it rolling additional 5 and 6s I think is probably the best thing we can get here. In terms of our consistency, I think that's the best. We'll head to a Sanctuary, where instead of gaining max health, I will spend money to get back up to full current HP. I'm going to check my spells one more time, just in case any of them is like definitely not relevant for this fight and I should change it for something else, and I haven't been thinking about it yet, but it's a really good idea. No. No, I think I generate and expend about as much value as each other action. That's Crystal Snort at the start of the fight in order to gain the 3 power. Do I want 3 foresight on turn 1? So these are the turns where the enemy is going to be applying Broken? Honestly? Yeah, probably. Let's get that 3 foresight now. Oh, hang on. 3 power. And some foresight, thank you. Oh, this is great. I'm gonna mulch. Then nurture that mulch. After putting 2 3s into a Sanctify Shell. Rolling 2 6s, hell yeah. We'll nurture that mulch. And then mulch it again. And then nurture it one final time, and now it's a 4, which means it can go into Revitalize. Big blessings. We're looking for a 6 and a 6 and a 6 and Force of Nature for the full defense. And then a 6 and a 6 into Glint Glaive. We'll cast it for the first time, and then I just have to have a 6, a 6, and a 2 available afterwards, which means I can go for a 1 and a 1, both in Gleaming Exterior here. Last spell is almost complete off of a single round. There's 75 damage, and we'll follow up with another. Sorry, I felt a hair on my finger and I thought it was a bug. Alright. That worked out really well! We've got 5 blessings, so all of our die is 6s next turn. Rolling nothing but 6s. Actually, I can increase the size of this Lothspell die here. Oh! I can mulch it! I can mulch that die! So rude. It's actually going to be really hard to mulch. Actually, if I use this 3, it will guaranteed work. Beautiful. If I put that Lothspell 4 into Revitalize, I could generate so many die. Truly, so many die. The only thing is, still my capacity for what I do with those die is relatively low. Cast Sanctify for us. Pop a 1 into Gleaming Exterior. I'm gonna put 5, Lothspell 5 into Gleaming Exterior. which will give us the ability to gain 6 blessing just by throwing things into the defense. There we go. So that's 95 damage available with a Glint Glaive. I'm gonna just hold the red candle for the next turn because it's just so not necessary this turn. Glint Glaive him. Heck, let's gain even more blessing. How much blessing is too much blessing? Is it 10? Is 10 too much? Don't worry, if I roll a -4, it'll still be upgraded to a 6. Mulch this 4 down twice. Then nurture it up into another 4, allowing me to use it for revitalization. Also roll a last ball die, why not? Realistically, I should just put that in Gleaming Exterior. But I'm also not well defended this turn yet. Gain some blessing first. Okay, now I will be well defended enough to expend the rest of these charges how I see fit. We'll cast Glint Glaive once. No, do I want to do that yet? No. Actually, this will be fine. We'll cast Glint Glaive once for 105, and then decrease its cost. Ooh, actually, no. I'll just put this 3 into Sanctify Shell. That'll roll some more defense. And then I can even still keep my red candle for next turn. We even get to get Tempest all the way up to 2 charges. Making it way easier to Sanctify Shell this turn. Now I'll be looking to mulch twice. Single 3 into Sanctify Shell will then roll to 5 and 6s for us. We can use one of those in Revitalize. Ooh. Another Last Ball 3. Well, now it's a Last Ball 4, you see. And we'll pop that into the Gleaming Exterior, and I'm going to be killing the enemy this turn. I'll tell you that much. Lower the charge for a Glint Glaive. There we are. 1 and 2 and 105 damage. That'll also decrease its own cost. And we'll set out another 115 to take out the final enemy. Goodbye, Arcanax. We keep our mutation stage 6 streak running, have 6+ charges on a spell, and win a game using Earthsea are the two things we completed. We also rolled a significant amount of our 200 sixes that we need to roll, as well as retrieved 2 additional shards, it looks like. Maybe 1 additional shard over the course of this run from disenchanted spells. Alright. That was a pretty good run. Got to actually fully explore Blessing there. We also get an artifact. Open the artifact vault to discover it. Unfortunately, it doesn't immediately show us which one we unlocked, but I'll be able to tell. It's Crucible. End of each turn. Deplete the rightmost playable spell. Then gain 2 block per charge removed. Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's incredible. I want that so damn bad. We also have some other conditions here that I should probably have a look at. Artifact Vault, win the game without losing any health. And win the game in 45 minutes. And defeat a boss in the first turn of combat. Defeat a boss in the first turn of combat. It's entirely possible that I could actually do this while playing on Mutation 6. However, win the game without losing any health? Significantly less likely. Win the game in less than 45 minutes? Not happening. So at some point, I am going to have to choose to go on a lower difficulty run so that I can try and complete a couple of those. Spend 20+ die trying to cast a single countdown spell. I'm eager to see what that would unlock. I'm getting pretty up there in the completions of these. It's only 4 more spells that I need to unlock and 5 more artifacts. But for the moment, my name's Rhapsody. The name of the game has been SpellRogue. Top left is a series playlist from my content on the game, past, present, and future. YouTube recommendation is down below. Streaming past are the names of the people so generously supporting the Republic on patreon.com/RhapsodyPlays at above the thank tier. And a special thanks this episode to Victor. Hopefully you'll be enjoying yourselves and hopefully we'll see you next time.